This is homework set number 45. And that's the end of this part of homework set 45. Question 1, let's write the first 5 terms of this sequence. All right, now remember what happens. N, in these sequences, n is equal to 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then so on. All right, so let n equal 1. All right, so I'll write it here. N equals 1. Here's what you're going to get. 1 plus 5, so you get 6. And then when n is 2, you get 2 plus 5, 7. When n is 3, you get 3 plus 5, 8. When n is 4, you get 4 plus 5, so you get 9. And finally, when n is 5, because I want the first 5 terms, I get 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So here are the first 5 terms. So I would probably write it like this: 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Question 2, we're going to write the first 5 terms of this sequence. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did in number 1. When n is equal to 1, I get 2 to the 1, which is 2. When n is equal to 2, I get 2 to the 2, which is 4. You see what I'm doing here? I'm replacing n with that value. So n is 1, so put a 1 here. N is 2, so put a 2 here. Just substitution. When n is equal to 3, I get 2 cubed. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. You can see we're just multiplying the last number by 2. When n is 4, I get 2 to the 4th, which is 16. And finally, the 5th term, when n is 5, I get 2 to the 5th, which is 32. So I would write this like this: 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Those are the first 5 terms of the sequence whose general term is 2 to the n. Question 3, we're going to write the first 5 terms of this sequence having this general term. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is, I don't like those negative exponents, so I'm going to write this as 1 over 5 to the n. Right, then I'll say when n is 1, I get 1 over 5 to the 1, so I get 1/5. Now, when n is equal to 2, I'm going to get 1 over 5 to the 2, so I get 1 over 25. When n is equal to 3, I get 1 over 5 cubed, which is 1 over 625. When n is equal to 4, oh, it seems like I went a little bit too fast there. What is 5 cubed? 5 cubed is not 625. That's the next one. It's 125. You probably caught that. Now I get 1 over 5 to the 4th. That's the 1 over 625. Okay, all right. I got a little bit of my head of myself. When n is equal to 5, I get 1 over 5 to the 5th, which is 1 over, I had to calculate for this one, 3125. 3125. So I would write that sequence like this: 1/5, 1/25, 1 over 125, 1 over 625, and 1 over 3125. Question 4, let's write the first 5 terms of this sequence with this general term. So the general term is this one right here, an and 9 plus negative 1 to the n. So we'll do it as we did the others. When n is equal to 1, now I'll expand a little bit more than I did before. a1, the first term is 9 plus, now negative 1 to the 1. This is 9 plus, now negative 1 to the 1 is just negative 1. So 9 plus negative 1 is an 8. So that says a1, the first term is an 8. You know, I'm going to write that down here. I'll do it up at the top right. First term is 8. Now go to the second term. When n is equal to 2, a sub 2. Now all I'm doing is this. I'm going up to n is equal to 2. So I come up to my general term, and I replace all the n's with a 2. So I'll put a 2 here and a 2 here. So a sub 2, the second term, is 9 plus negative 1 squared. That's going to be 9 plus, now negative 1 squared is 1, so I get a 10. So a sub 2, the second term, is a 10. Now I'll write that up here at the top right. Second term is a 10. When n is equal to 3. All right, now again, take that 3, the n is 3. So come up to your general term, replace all the n's with 3. So a 3 here, a 3 here. We will get a sub 3, meaning the third term is 9 plus negative 1 to the 3. 9, now negative 1 cubed is still negative 1, so I'm going to get an 8. Right, so the third term is an 8. And maybe you can see what's going to happen now. That negative 1 just keeps bouncing back and forth, that negative 1 to the n. So when n is equal to 4, I'll get a sub 4 is equal to 9 plus negative 1 to the 4th. So that's 9 plus 1, right? Negative 1 to an even power is 1, is 1. So I get 10. So this is 10, and I'm going to bet that when n equals 5, we'll get a sub 5 is 9 plus negative 1 to the 5th. Negative 1 to the 5th is negative 1. We're going to get an 8 again. So there are the first 5 terms. An alternating sequence, in a sense, alternates between 8 and 10. Question 5. Let's write these first 5 terms. All right, so first up, when n is equal to 1, we'll get a sub 1. Now remember what you do. N is 1. So go up to your general term and replace all the n's with 1. I'll put a 1 here, a 1 here, and a 1 here. So I'll get a1 equals, right, 1 squared times 2 to the negative 1. 1 squared is 1. 2 to the negative 1 is 1 over 2. So I get 1/2. All right, so the first term here is 1/2. Now I'll write that up here at the top right. 1/2. Now when n is equal to 2, I'll get a sub 2 is, all right, come up to the general term, replace all the n's with a 2. So 2, 2, and 2. So we will get 2 squared, right, 2 to the 2 times 2 to the negative 2. So how about 4? Now, 1 over 2 to the positive 2. So I get 4 over 4. I get a 1. So the second term here is a 1. I'll write that at the top right. I get a 1 there. Now, when n is equal to 3, replace all these n's, that one, and that one with a 3. So I'll get a sub 3. The third term is 3 squared times 2 to the negative 3. That'll give me 9 times 1 over 2 cubed, which is 9 over 8. All right, so the third term is 9/8. So I'll write that up here. 9/8. N equals 4. All right, so when n equals 4, I'll get a sub 4 is, now, replace all the n's with a 4. Right, so up here, 4 to the 2, 2 to the negative 4. So I'll get 4 squared times 2 to the negative 4. This is 16 times 1 over 2 to the 4th. Well, that's 16 times 1 over 16. That's just a 1. So I get a 1 here. All right, now when n is 5, okay, when n is 5, I'm going to get a sub 5 is 5 squared times 2 to the negative 5. This will give me 25 times 1 over 2 to the 5th. This is 25 over 32, and I don't think that's going to reduce. 25 over 32. There's the first 5. And that's the end of this part of homework set 45.